Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy 8 p.m. and we are back with our daily lives. So please forgive me for not being on for the past 2 days. I know people are just hopping on, so you probably won't hear this message until later. Anyway, so today's 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 topic is about anxiety and do I have anxiety? Uh, let me see here. What I'm trying to do right now, as you can see, I'm typing because so this might be a little bit confusing for some people. What I'm doing right now, why you're like, what's Richard doing, is because I set up another live stream, but I'm not streaming on that live stream because I need to use my computer to use that live stream. I hello, 1 second, everyone. Nelly, I see you, and yeah, I see you. What is what? I'm so confused. What did? Okay, whatever. Well, let's roll with it. Um, some technical stuff that's going on in the background, like the event just disappeared. My old event that I scheduled is not here anymore, so I don't know what's going on. That's okay. We can still chat. Hey, if you can hear me, perfect. Okay. So sorry for the random intro. Let's do this. Um, all right. So this conversation, do I have anxiety, came up for me because honestly, these past few days, um, it's been anxious. I've been feeling anxious. You know, there's a lot that's been going on, and um, goodness, this is such a raw conversation. So the past 2 days, I've had good reasons to not be on live stream because, as I mentioned before, I was hanging out with my brother. That was supposed to happen 2 days ago. He got really busy, so yesterday I ended up hanging out with my brother. So I missed 2 days in a row. And for me, it was kind of perfect timing. It was a good excuse for me to be like, oh, I guess I don't have to stream because honestly, the past 2 days have been kind of rough for me. And so I would have streamed if I wasn't, if it was scheduled and my brother wasn't here. Um, but I had a good excuse. Anyway, so let's answer the question: do I have anxiety? That's a good question. What is anxiety to begin with? In general, I feel like I do have some sort of anxiety, and I was just talking with my girl, and yeah, that's literally the exact reason why we're having this conversation right now about anxiety. So, for anyone who's on right now, welcome. And let me see here. I am pulling up the comments so I could see them more clearly. All right, we are here. All right, NJ Grant, good to see you on. Nelly and Yaya, good to see you all on, and anyone else who's on right now. Thanks for the plus one like. Uh, so here's what today's conversation is going to be about. HLA Hatat Thar. Good to see you on. So sorry, I'm beating around the bush right now. Please forgive me for that. I think today's gonna be. I'm guessing today's gonna be a very fruitful conversation. We're gonna dive deep into it. We're gonna talk about anxiety. We're gonna talk about the struggles that we as human beings have, and I want to also tell you the good news. If you have anxiety, if you feel anxious, I believe there is good news to this, and I'll give you the good news right up front. Okay, the good news is anxiety is curable. You know, anxiety can be improved. So that is, I believe that's like the best news ever. Is that not a wonderful thing that we have a challenge and it can get better? I think that's the best that we could ask for. So for myself, again, I've legitimately had some pretty poor days these past few days. I've been extremely unproductive work wise. I've just had so much of this anxiety just built up in me that I'm just like I don't know what to do. Like I don't want to do work. I'm like hesitating. Like I don't want to do anything. You know, it's I don't know what to say. Like I'm spending so much time thinking about the challenges, the struggles I'm going through that I haven't really been doing much. And again, the comforting news is that it can improve. And the girl that I'm dating, she struggled a lot with anxiety, a lot, and she's kind of a anxiety ninja now. Like she's done the work. She's put in the work to improve her anxiety to the point where she's calm. She, I believe, acknowledge, accept, what is it? Acknowledge, accept, action are, that's kind of Richard's 3-step secret to life. Um, so, Chowder, good to see you on, and I saw Kitty Marie on. Let's see. I will get into your questions in just a second. And did I miss anyone? No, not yet. Okay. Yeah, I'll get to your comments in just a second. So, how do I say this? One thing, I literally right before this conversation, I was just having a chat with my girl, and she's just like, Richard, anxiety is a phase. It's it's not something that lasts forever. It's just a phase. And so I would say about a week ago, everything was good. Life was good. Like I was happy. I was happy. Like everything was good. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, something triggered. If you're feeling anxiety, it comes from a trigger. Trigger is like something that sets off the anxiety. So I think this is where self awareness is really important. It's important to understand and be aware what triggered us, what triggered the anxiety in us. So for me, I would say what triggered the anxiety for me was feeling overwhelmed. And um, ooh, honestly, I'm still digging through this. Like, there's a lot of things going on. So I felt overwhelmed because there's so many different pieces, and I was so I was in a moment of so much uncertainty. So I'm sure maybe you experience that too. Sometimes in our lives we are uncertain. Like I don't know what decision I should make here. Let's talk about we see a cute guy or girl, and then you feel very anxious because you don't know what action you should do. Should I go talk to them? Should I message them? Like how do I interact? It causes anxiety, and then it causes a lot of pressure. Um, we could talk about schoolwork. We could talk about studying for exams and things like that. We could talk about like, oh, like I feel a lot of anxiety because I didn't do well in the past, and I don't know, like I know I need to get a good grade here, and I don't know how to study properly. So there's a lot of things that can cause anxiety with us. So I think it's important. I don't know the full system yet, but I do know. I'm pretty sure acknowledge, accept, action are the three secrets to curing anxiety too. It's a very basic outline to, I believe, solving anything in life, which is acknowledge awareness. It's being aware that you have anxiety, uh, being aware of where the anxiety is coming from. What's your trigger, and then accepting it. Just being okay, knowing that it's okay to have anxiety, knowing that it's okay to feel however you're feeling. And then the third step is action. Action is moving forward from whatever that feeling is, that anxiety. So yeah, I don't know how to say this. It's like I've had so many negative conversations come up for me. I've had literally like just digging things from the past, like just it looks like going back to the graveyard, just digging back all those old tombs and those old stories that I had that I didn't realize. So I'm gonna be very open here. Uh, I remember one time I was having a conversation with someone, and the conversation um, was it? What is your biggest fear? What's your biggest fear in your life? And I don't know why. Like I could have thought about like heights, spiders, blah blah blah. But in that moment, I just had this feeling, which was my biggest fear in this moment is dying alone. It was that's it. It was literally just dying alone. That like I don't know if that was the truth. I don't know if that was my biggest fear, but the thing is, it came up for me, so I know that is some sort of fear that I have. Um, anyway, so again, I'm not the expert on anxiety, which is perfect because how do I say this? A few weeks ago, we were talking about anxiety, and I said I would bring someone on to talk about anxiety. If you haven't figured out who I'm going to bring on, you'll figure it out pretty soon. If you didn't connect the dots, that's perfectly okay. I've only mentioned one other person on the stream. Hint, hint. But yeah, you can expect that to happen in the next couple. Nope, 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 not so soon. In the next month. In the next month, I'm going to bring someone on to talk about anxiety. So you could piece two and two together and figure out who that is. And yay! Okay. So, alrighty. Yeah. So if you're feeling anxiety, awesome. Like, don't worry about it. Just let it be. This is just a phase. So if you're feeling anxiety, then you're like me too. Like, we're just going through a phase. And I get it. Sometimes when we're dealing with anxiety, it doesn't feel like a phase. It feels like this is kind of forever, and this is just a part of who we are. And um, knowing what I know, I don't think that's the truth. Even though it feels like this is a forever thing, I don't think anxiety is a forever thing. Just seeing my girl and hearing the stories that she had with her anxiety and how she got through it, and seeing how calm she is today, that tells me that that is living proof that anxiety is something that could be improved, and not only improved, but it could almost be eliminated from us. So I'm looking forward more to learning more from my girl, and sharing that with you, and also bringing her on to talk about that. There we go, in the upcoming month. So um, yeah, you all will hear more details about that. Uh, it's interesting. Today's stream feels very exclusive. You know why? I don't know. This felt very personal to me. And by the way, it's funny because YouTube is slightly more public, quote unquote public, than Facebook is. But I'm not streaming on Facebook today, because I felt like this is personal. And when it gets personal, I feel like all of you here on YouTube, even though YouTube is a bigger audience. Um, I don't know. I felt like I just want to do YouTube today, like no Facebook. So no Facebook today. So thanks for hopping on. Alrighty. I'm gonna read through your comments right now. I'm sure you have a lot of great comments. Let's do this. So Kitty says, "Hey Richard, missed you. Hope you had an amazing time with Kevin." Um, let's see. Amazing time with Kevin. I'm curious. I'm curious. When you say Kevin, I like that you remember that name. You had an amazing time with Kevin. So I know there's two Kevins I'm thinking about. Kevin, my brother, who I play basketball with, or Kevin Vo, who's part of the Owner Life Challenge. Who how do I say this? Who I just did a live stream with today. So, oh, my brother Kevin. Thank you. Yes, I did. We played basketball yesterday. Like it was a hardcore basketball. Like we played for over 2 hours. It was um, I impressed myself. Like I played hard yesterday. It was like I was try harding for sure. I was like really focused. I was just like strategically like knowing how to pass, like looking for opportunities. So it felt great to do that, and it especially felt great because I was having kind of a very anxious or anxiety filled past couple days, past 4 days, and so it was nice to kind of get my mind off of all the anxiety stuff and do something else physical. So that helps. Okay. Um, HLA Hitatar. You just had to pick a name that's hard to pronounce. Sorry. If that's your name, that's perfectly okay. You got to teach us how to pronounce that. That's a tough name to pronounce. Can we also talk about life? Of course, we can talk about life. That's why we're here. Yeah. So, I'm gonna call you Halatitar. Halatetar. La Tetar. I'm gonna go with La Tetar. Yes, we can talk about life. Feel free to drop any questions in the comments, and whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about. Yeah, the H is silent. La Tetar. That's why I'm gonna La Tetar. I'm gonna go with that one. Yeah, drop any comments that you want, and we'll have conversation around it. I have a feeling today will be a good day of conversation. So we're just getting warmed up right now. Kitty Marie says, "Had a terrible day yesterday. I do not have anxiety. I am okay. Not lying." Well, I'm glad to hear that you don't have anxiety, and I'm I'm sorry that you had a bad day yesterday, and I hope. Well, the good news is that tomorrow's a new day. So that is the great news. Tomorrow is always a new day. So just because you had a bad day today or yesterday or this past week, it does not mean that tomorrow has to be another bad day. We get to choose that. Tomorrow's the future. As my girl says, we can't control the future. I'm looking forward to have more conversation with her about that. That's where we left off before jumping on this live stream. Um, but yeah, just I do know that every single day, like it's a choice. We can choose to have a good day, and we can shape it into a good day. And sometimes we don't have, or we don't feel like we have the right tools to shape it into a positive day. So that's okay. It's okay if we don't feel like we have the right tools, and sometimes it takes some learning to figure out how do I change my day into something positive. So this is kind of why I recommend diving into personal growth or personal development is because when you dive into personal development, you learn from other people. Whatever you read, you watch videos like this, and you'll start learning some techniques on how do I change a terrible day from today to an awesome day tomorrow. And a lot of that is it's personal growth, it's awareness, it's uh, finding and gathering the tools for you to shift the way you do that. So that's what I have there. So it's okay to have terrible days. We all have them. I have them too. Um, just tomorrow's a new day, and do your best and ask questions. Kitty, anyone else? If anyone's having a bad day, my suggestion, I'm not forcing you, but my suggestion is if you're having a bad day and you want to have a better day tomorrow, even though it seems impossible, whenever you're ready, because sometimes we just feel kind of stuck and, we feel kind of, crappy, and we're just like, oh man, this is so tough. I don't know what to do. By the way, I'm feeling anxiety right now as I speak because there's just so much going on still. Anyway, but sometimes the only way I believe there's two ways to move forward from a bad feeling. Number one is time. Time will sometimes just naturally let those emotions go and all that stuff. So number one is time. Number two, we can move forward from a bad day is it's choice/action. It's being intentional about moving forward from it. So, for example, let's say you're having a bad day. Like this is where awareness is so important. It's like, okay, why am I having a bad day? I'm having a bad day because blank. I'm having a bad day because I didn't do all my schoolwork. So Kitty, ask yourself, any of you, like, why are you having a bad day? So I would like to know that. And yeah, like figure that out. It's important. And once you do that, you can start improving and improving. Okay. So action, ask yourself questions, and like, why are you having a bad day? And in a way, what do you need to do to improve that? So I'm going to give you a live example. I haven't pre-recorded this, pre-thought, premeditated these answers. I'm just going to give it to you right as I feel. Onathox, other people, I see your comments. I'm going to get to them in just a second. Sorry, I'm still talking here. Wow, that sounded so rude. I hope you didn't misinterpret that. I'll get to your comments. I see you. Wait, Kitty, I'm gonna read this. Hey, Richard, please stop speaking about my habit publicly. I trust you and only you. I'm sorry. Got it. You're will not. Yes, I will. I will not talk about it publicly. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so real quick here. Goodness, I already lost my train of thought. Train of thought. Choo choo. Okay, my thought passed by already. I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm just gonna move on. Sorry, I had a big point. I can't remember what it was. If it comes back, it will come back. I won't be attached to it. Let's keep going. Yeah, says that's how I'm feeling in college. I'm guessing a lot of anxiety. And let's see. I had a breakdown the other day because of being overwhelmed. Yeah. Here's my thought on breakdowns. Like, if you ever break down, like emotionally and whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay to break down. It's okay to express emotions. It's okay to whatever cry and all that kind of stuff. It's okay. Like, this stuff happens. It's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to feel anxious, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. It's okay to have a bad day. It's really okay. This is just part of being human. And another thing, as I mentioned before, which was life is too short to not be happy. And I do agree with that. And Kitty, I saw your, Kitty said, yeah, you okay? You're not smiling as much. So, I'm going to be authentic. I'm not going to fake being happy. So honestly, in this moment, because I get the opportunity to connect with all of you, I feel more positive. And even though I might not be smiling, my heart feels good. My heart feels good to have this moment with you. But am I okay? honestly, yeah, I want to say yes, and I don't mean that in a lying way. Like, I am okay. I am okay. Sure, there might be some challenges in my life right now. Sure, I might be dealing with anxiety and things like that. However, in this moment, I know that anxiety is, figure outable. That's a made up word that someone else made up. But I know that anxiety can be improved. I know that we can get rid of anxiety. So knowing that we can improve our anxiety gives me so much more peace. Peace knowing that even though I'm struggling right now, that it will get better. So just because I'm not smiling a lot doesn't mean I'm not okay. Sometimes I don't feel okay, like these past 3 days. But today, in this moment, I feel better. So yeah, and tomorrow I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what tomorrow looks like. It might be a struggle. It might not be. Who knows? I think it'll be a little bit of a challenge if I'm being real. But I'm not going to be attached to it. I'm just going to let it be, and I'm going to continue to push myself to get better and better and better. Okay. Alrighty. Um, Latet says, "How you guys meet? How do I meet my girl? Not girlfriend yet. We're dating. I will. I'll let you know in future streams. I'm going to save that for a future conversation, and you'll see. You'll kind of see why. If you're here, you'll hear more stories about that. Yeah. So, and you'll understand why I'm kind of waiting to share this information. Some of you just like, why don't you just tell us? There's a reason why, and you'll find out. You'll find out. You'll know. You will know. Uh, Carib Spice says, I was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety. My baby is 1. It progressively got worse, and I am now having to deal with severe anxiety. I'm a work in progress, but being a first-time mom really got me. Yeah. Carib Spice, thank you for sharing that. Very much so. That's very, very vulnerable and open, and I massively appreciate people, kind of putting themselves out there and willing to share these kind of vulnerable details about themselves. So, let's see. First of all, congratulations for being a mom. That's awesome. And I don't know the whole story with with your child, but in general, let's see. Oh goodness, sorry, I just saw a random comment from Monothox. I'll respond to you in just a second. Um, so, whew. Carib and anyone else, if you're struggling with anxiety, I guess my quick question is: have you? I don't know. This is so simple, but like, have you Google searched how to improve anxiety? I can't. I'm not the expert on it. Again, that's why I'm going to bring my girl on, who has more experience with that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great place to start. Is search people, and don't search me. I'm not claiming to be an expert here, but go. Let's see. Google it. Look for credible and relatable sources. If like, see who else has dealt with anxiety and has kind of overcome anxiety, and learn from them how you yourself can improve that anxiety. So, yeah, just do it in your own method that makes most sense to you. So for me, I probably won't read a book about anxiety because reading for me is a little bit boring. It's a little bit too long. So I'd rather just either search on YouTube how to improve anxiety or Google search how to improve anxiety. And I always, I have a certain kind of, I learn a certain way. So I want very simple bullet points. And I also want to hear stories. I want to learn from other people dealing with the same challenges that I am dealing with. So that's how I learn. Again, if you are new to this channel, um, real quick, I don't claim myself to be an expert of much. Really, what I am is I am you could say I'm a little bit of a platform for creating conversations and allowing people like you to just open up and just have conversations about this stuff. I think self-discovery is huge, and I think when we discuss openly about the problems that we have, that is the beginning of self-discovery. So that's kind of why that's the purpose of my channel in a way, in some ways. Okay, so let's see, Carib Spice. I'm gonna read your comments because so the little behind the scenes secret. So what I do when I read comments, for the most part, I will stick to comments in order, but If I read, like, right now I'm reading Carib Spice's comment, and I see that you wrote two more comments. Uh, Given that I'm talking about your comment right now and you're commenting, I'm going to read it because it's likely relevant to it. And then, obviously, I'm not going to try to repeat the same comments when I get to it later. But Carib Spice, I'm going to read your comments right now. The anxiety came from being afraid to fail. I'm new to motherhood. So first of all, look, I've never had a child before, but I do know, like, I've imagined myself having a child. Like, it is scary. It is. I can imagine being really anxious having a child because it's like it's a lot of responsibility. It really is. So for anyone who has not had a child, um, it's a lot. It's scary. You're responsible for a human being. Like it's a lot. And like for myself, I have a hard enough time taking care of myself. So it's like, yeah. So I definitely understand where that anxiety is coming from. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, Carib Spices, I have great support. I have great support from friends and family, and my caregiver said that that is very common for new moms. Becoming a mom is a big deal. Getting better though, awesome. Yeah, and my little words of encouragement is I think you know this, but there is no perfect mom. There is no perfect human being. All we can do is really just do the best that we can, and that's it. And I do speak from personal experience of not having a kid, but personal experience from I'm gonna call it my quote unquote kid, which is speaking. So I'll give you a quick example, just to kind of tie everything in. Today I spoke at a middle school. Like about 125 students were there, and I recorded it. It's on my Facebook. You can watch it. So I recorded my presentation, and after my presentation, well, okay, sorry. During my presentation, it felt really good. I felt really connected with the students. I felt like I was being present. I was there. I was making a difference. I was impacting. However, when I watched my presentation on the video, I was just like, man, I just feel like I could have done so much better. Like, I don't feel like watching the video, I don't feel like it seemed like I was that connected with them. I don't feel like I was, I want to be more animated. I want to be more, like, engaging, impactful. Like, when you watch a video, you know that I'm super engaged. Like, yeah, high energy. Not like, it doesn't have to be high energy. It just, like, it needs to have, like, conviction. So, um, that's what I wanted to do. And so I was a little bit hard on myself. I was a little bit like, um, disappointed. Anyway, point being, how this ties into anxiety and being a first time mom, to me is like, we want to do the best that we can, and sometimes we don't feel like we're doing enough, and I think that causes anxiety. So same thing with my speaking. I know it's different context, but yeah, I can relate to some extent. All right, let's get back to these comments here. Let's see. Nelly says last stream's conversation got very deep. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We talked about suicide. We talked about depression. If you weren't here on the last stream, and it was a good conversation. Yeah. Chowdrup says I've been getting panic attacks more and more often. Had my first one about a few months ago, and they are becoming frequent. That scares me. Is it something to be afraid of? Chowdrup, honestly, I can't speak on behalf of this. I've never had a panic attack like the ones you're talking about. I've had a lot of anxiety, but I've never had a panic attack like that. I do know friends who have had panic attacks. Um, let's see. I don't know enough about them to share, but from what I see, again, I don't even know if this is worth mentioning, but from what I see from my friends, uh, I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to. I don't want to give advice on something I don't know about. So, I would do research. Just Google search. Should I be worried about panic attacks? Or, Google, like, yeah, I would just Google and search about panic attacks, and yeah, that's what I would do. Alrighty, let's see. Chowdhup says, when I'm feeling really terrible, I get this feeling like I don't want to be better. It's like I want to be stuck there. How do I turn that into something more positive, or at least change that? Ooh, Chowdhup. Um, this is so relatable. You're not the only one. I could relate with that. I'm sure. I almost feel like most people in this chat room can relate with that in some way, shape, or form. It's like when we feel really bad, we get into this mode where we're just like, screw life. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't want to do anything anymore. And Sometimes it can get really toxic. It could be like for example, when I feel terrible, sometimes we go into a self-sabotaging mode. We start doing things that don't serve us. We start doing things that are our comfort things, and this is where people start, shutting themselves off to the world. Whatever, they stop talking to people, and they go into their own little world. And again, little world could be a lot of different things. It could be just watching TV, whatever, Netflix. It could be watching uh, shows, YouTube, playing video games. It could be eating a lot. It could be sleeping. It could be a lot of different things. And yeah, so, and then we just shut ourselves off. I totally get that. So the question is, how do we turn, this feeling when we feel bad and we don't feel like we want to be better? How do we turn that into something positive? I think awareness is number one. Is step number one. So being aware that you're having these thoughts, being aware that you're feeling terrible, and noticing that you don't want to better yourself. You're like, oh man, screw the world. Life is useless, like all that kind of stuff. So that's number one. Notice it. Number two, again, this is off the top of my head. Number two that I'm feeling is it's also like having this awareness of like, okay, here's the thing about about self-sabotaging myself. Here's the thing about overeating, just eating a bunch of ice cream when you're feeling sad. Yes, stopping your positive habits, bringing on the bad habits. Being aware that this cycle of bad habits that you're letting yourself get into is not going to help you get out of your cycle. It's just going to make it worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's being aware that at some point you're going to have to move forward from it, because unless you accept it, unless you choose, you know what, this is my life, I'm just going to let it be. And I'm going to try to be brief here. I've been here, I've been there, I've struggled with being in that terrible place way too many times, and I've experienced both ways. I've experienced being responsible about it. So I'll give you a quick example. In the past 4 days, when I've been feeling this, in this quote unquote bad mood or whatever it is, I've been aware of it, and I did dip into bad habits, such as eating more. So I know this is to you, some of you, it might seem like I'm not eating enough, but so my daily standard of calories is 1,600. That's just what I've set for myself. And some of you are like, dude, Richard, you're not eating enough. But it's 1,600 of like high quality, vegetables and nutritious stuff. So I've been eating pretty healthy there. Now, when it comes to these past 4 days, guess what? Well, I just started eating because that's kind of my comforting thing, is I just eat. And like I had to be self-aware. I was like, Richard, notice notice yourself how do I say this? Notice how you're eating a lot, because out of just whatever, out of emotional eating. And that's when I had to like be very conscious about this. And I'm like, okay, hey Richard, you know what, fine, you could eat, but here's what I want you to go ahead and eat whatever not eat whatever you want, but eat a little bit more, more than usual. Let yourself go a little bit. You're sad, whatever. But what I want you to do is I want you to track everything that you're eating. Track your track your calories. So I use this app called MyFitness app, and I could track all my calories there. And what that pushed me to do was it helped me realize how much was I actually eating. So like for the past 2 days, my calories went from, what was it, from 1,600 up to 2,400. So an extra 800 calories, which for me is quite a bit. Again, it's all healthy food, but a lot of the calories came from snacking on healthy-ish foods like nuts, like cashews and almonds and stuff like that. And yeah, anyway, so how do you turn in? Chowder, going back to your question, is how do you turn it back into something more positive? And how do you change that? It's just being aware. It's being aware. It's choosing to, when you're feeling in those bad moments, it's choosing to like take some sort of responsibility just a little bit so you can keep yourself on track. And again, I would say the biggest thing is just know that we're never ever going to get out of this bad habit or negative space until we start taking little actions towards it, or we can let time figure it out. But here's the thing: if we let time figure it out, guess what? You still need to take action later on. So if you have this bad habit for, let's say, this negative space for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, the only way you're eventually going to get out of that bad habit is by consciously making a choice to move forward. And so for me, I get it. I like to complain and be a little victim in my own story, and like, oh man, life is so tough. I'm just gonna go eat. I'm just gonna whatever watch the League of Legends videos and waste my time, go to sleep, take a nap, whatever it is. Because I want to avoid. I don't want to handle my problems. It's too much stress. So, um, the other thing I acknowledge is the only way to improve my situation, the only way to stop feeling so bad is to actually take action. And sometimes we need a little bit of time, but at some point we just gotta just push ourselves and be like, you know what, time to take action. Um, but please do me a favor. Don't feel pressured. I'm not trying to pressure anyone to be like, you gotta push, you gotta take action. You got no, like, we all have our own little timeline. We all have our own little process. So if you feel the need to take a little bit of space and figure it out, take your space and figure it out. I just want to encourage you and just kind of give you that idea. Eventually, we all get to take action. So however long that takes you, let yourself be. Let those emotions flow. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This whole entire past 36, 37 minutes we've been on, I've still been feeling anxious. Why? I've been feeling anxious this whole entire day, because I still have that kind of that burden, that struggle of feeling overwhelmed and so much to do, and feeling so behind, and feeling like I'm not focused on my visions and my goals in this moment, and I'm trying to get back on track with that. So that's what I have there. All right, I'm gonna chowder up. I'm gonna continue reading your comments. I see a few. Oh boy, I see a few comments that you've written, and people, I did not forget about your comments. I will get to them. I just want to do it in a strategic order that makes sense. Chowder says, at least in school, I found that teachers are a lot more understanding than you might think. You may think I've had success by talking to teachers and asking for another day to work on things if I have a breakdown or something. I believe it or not, most teachers don't hate their students. Nice. I like that. Chowder says, comments pretty active. Yeah, still going through that sort of trying to process my last semester. Took the break, talking to almost nobody. It feels like you're trapped in your own mind. It feels like that's okay. I'm gonna come back to that comment in just a second. Maybe there's some context I'm missing. Okay, Onathox, good to see you on, brother. Onathox says, "Hey Richard, the girl I like texted me hi and asked how my day was, but I don't know what it suggests. I feel awkward to ask to hang out because I feel unattractive." Okay, so what I'm gonna say, Onathox, is if a girl texts you hi, like, don't overthink it, please. Like, people in general, please don't overthink the messages. Like, don't make assumptions. That's part of the four agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. One of the agreements is don't make assumptions. It's if someone texts you hi, it could mean a lot of different things. Sure, maybe you're right. Maybe it does mean that she's not interested or whatever it is, but don't make assumptions. Like, if you want something, just go for it. And another one of the four agreements that might be supportive is don't take anything personally. So let's say you ask her out. Let's say, hey, you want to hang out, and she says no. Don't take it personally. It's really okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. Just it's a process. You learning to value yourself is a process. And trust me, Onathox, anyone else that's on, Angel, like, you are worthy. You are valuable. Like, we as human beings, we are all valuable. And sometimes we just can't see the value in ourselves. And I'm going to be very honest here. I wish I saw my own value more than I did. And I don't value myself a lot of the times. I struggle with that a lot. I know I do a lot for other people and all that stuff, but when I look at myself in the mirror, sometimes I'm like, hey, what's up? No, not really. When I look at myself in the mirror, which I'm doing right now, I'm just like, meh, it's just Richard. Like I don't always value myself, and I do give a lot of myself. I do know that, but I don't always value myself. So it's a process. So Unorthodox, just know, like, don't make assumptions and don't take anything personally. Kitty, I see your comment right now. Kitty, you have value. Okay, like seriously, it's a process. Like I accept whatever you're feeling in the moment. Kitty, anyone else, if you don't feel like you have value, I just want to let you know that you have value. Like, please know, I'm not just BSing that. I'm not just saying that to make you feel good. I'm not saying that to comfort you. Like, you need to know that you have value. You might not see it in yourself. And this is where, Kitty, I'm so grateful that you're on all the time so we can have these conversations. And I'm grateful that you've chosen to lean on me and lean on this community to kind of support you while you're going through your process. It's amazing. Like, Kitty, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. I understand you're struggling. I get it. And what you need to know is that you have value. And I can't wait until the day you figure that out for yourself. And so I'm just gonna be here. Like I'm just gonna be here. So, I look forward to that one day where you're on stream like, Richard, I get it now. I see my value. I understand what you mean by value. And not for me to be right, but rather for you to understand that you are valuable. This applies to everyone, all of you on here. I look forward to whatever it is. Let's say for some reason, I don't know, like on a future live stream, however long it takes for you to figure it out, or maybe you email me, whatever it is. Like, let's see. Sorry, sorry, I get distracted by comments. I see your comments. Yeah. Anyway, everyone, like, uh, please know that you do have value. I didn't skip comments. I'm just, Richard, you do not even know me. How do you know? I feel like I am a white trash and rotten eggs. How do I know? Kitty, look. How do I know that you have value? Is because I've, how do I say this? I've been where you are in some extent. Of course, not every extent. And what, Katie, there are things that there's. Oh goodness, am I going to go? I want to briefly go into this. There's four things here. There's the four quadrants. Okay, there's what you know, what you know, what you know that you don't know, what you don't know that you know, and what you don't know that you don't know. Okay, so there's four quadrants. What you know what you know that you don't know, what you don't know that you know, and what you don't know that you don't know. So, Katie, here's what I already see. We all have all four quadrants. We all have things that we don't know, that we know we don't know, that we know, and we don't know that we know. We all have that. And Kitty, there's a lot of things that you may not see that I see in you, and that could be because of life experiences, things like that. Kitty, you need to know that I haven't lived your life, but I've walked a similar path as you. From whenever you talk, I just feel it. Like, I just know. And you need to know that I came from a place where I completely did not believe in myself. I felt like trash. I felt like trash. I thought that's who I was. I thought I was trash, just like you feel like you're trash. I felt like I was trash. So you need to understand that it took me the longest time to understand that I'm worthy. I'm worth something, and I am worthy. I'm capable. And guess what? I'm still working through that process at the age of 28. It's not perfect, and that's okay. We're human beings. We're learning. And Kitty, like, so really, I don't know how to say it. The long story short is redefine the your definition of self-worth. Like, that's the main thing right now, Kitty. Your definition of self-worth is attached to a certain way of looking at things. So like your self-worth might be attached to the way people think about you. Your self-worth might be attached to your GPA. It might be attached to whatever social stuff, your friends. It could be attached to I don't know, the way you think your body looks like. Like it could be, and I this is why I talk about self worth. You know, if you don't feel like you have value, change the conversation, change the way that you look at yourself. So anyway, I'm talking too much, and anyway, so it's going to be a process. And by the way, if anyone has any like suggestions, like how I can support you better, like I don't know, should I create a course or should I create this thing called your Own Your Life Challenge? That starts February 1st in a week from today. You know what? By the way, I'm just. Am I going to do that? Yeah, sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now. Uh, so we are starting the month number 2 of the Own Your Life Challenge, and you aren't talking too much. All right, here. So. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send. I'm going to post a link to the Own Your Life Challenge. All right, everyone. So January we had the Own Your Life Challenge, and so I need to give some details here. For anyone who did the January Own Your Life Challenge, February is a much, it's like an upgraded version, and again, we are still in this beta phase. We are still crafting and polishing and improving this program. And February, there's going to be small accountability groups of probably 4 people. There's going to be group leaders, so people making sure that everyone's staying accountable for their goals and pushing themselves. It's not going to be perfect. I'm going to tell you that straight up. However, I'm going to do my best to be here for you, and it's just an opportunity for you to grow, learn, and develop yourself. Okay, so. Let's see. I'm gonna say. So I gotta kind of make this up on the spot a little bit. I'm improvising. Do the 28th. Do. Okay. So. All right. I just posted that. Can I pin this? Can I pin it? Nope. I can't pin it right now. Okay. So I just posted the link. If you want to join this Own Your Life Challenge, sign up. Like, it's a way to help you break bad habits, create positive habits, and achieve one big goal that you have for this upcoming month of February. And the more we do, it's completely free. And this month, I want to look for people who are really committed and dedicated to doing it. There's a question that I missed on there. The application it's a medium length application, and take your time to fill it out. Anyway, like if you want to improve your life, that's one way to do it. Okay. Sorry, I know there's a lot of conversations here, and I know that I'm a little bit behind, but yeah, we will do this. Okay. All right. Please forgive me if I miss a certain comments of yours. I'm not doing it on purpose. If I miss it, there's a lot of comments, and I'm trying to get everything, and I want to catch up because it becomes irrelevant if I wait too long. So, Latsetar says, "What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve from what?" I'm not clear on that one. I want to pass on that. Please forgive me for that. You could ask a question in a more specific way, just because there's a lot of conversations going on right now. So, Latsetar, sorry about that for skipping over your question. Donald Day says, oh my god, I have the same situation as Anatox, except we match on a dating app, and I am still putting myself down. Richard, what advice do you have for low self-esteem? My advice for low self-esteem is like low self-esteem is all internal. It is not the external. Low self-esteem comes from within. So just know that it doesn't matter who you are. Kitty, I'm gonna point you out for a little bit just because I know that you're working through it. And please forgive me. And Kitty, if I point you out, it's more like out of love and out of like I think you're incredible. I think the way that you show up in this community is absolutely incredible, and I value you so much. So it's just out of everyone, I feel like I know you pretty well, so I can talk about you and picture you and give it from that. Oh, so love you too. Let's see here. So advice for low self-esteem. Hold on. Okay, advice for low self-esteem is I don't know. I'm just gonna give you everyone a few pointers here. Be kind to yourself. If you are struggling with your self-esteem, like building up that confidence, you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself. Be kind to yourself, please. Like that is so important. It's like self-esteem is it's a made up thing. Like it's an internally made up thing. There is no self-esteem doesn't really how do I say it? It's like a figment of our imagination. It's how we see ourselves. So of course it takes work to build up this, imaginary thing. It's real but it's not real. I don't know if that makes sense. It's so just know that we have control over our self-esteem and sometimes it takes a lot of work to build up our self-esteem. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort. So if you're feeling down and you got low self-esteem, um, I believe the best way to build up your self-esteem, the short answer is building habits, positive habits. So this is kind of why I do the Own Your Life challenge. I'm doing it once a month, and it's a 4 week challenge slash coaching program uh, that will support people to build up their habits. Slowly. It's not perfect, and it takes effort. So if you're going to sign up for it, know that you got to put in the effort to improve yourself and to improve your self-esteem. So build up weekly habits. You don't have to do it, but you don't have to do the Own Your Life challenge. But if you choose to do it, just know, or if you don't choose, whether you choose to do it or not, just know that habits is really important. So, like going to the gym, whatever, regularly, eating healthy, all these kind of habits are really important to start building up those self-esteem, your self-esteem. So weekly schedules is a great way to start. Booking in little things. And let me see. I don't want to. I have so many different conversations that I know a lot of people are dealing with. How do I say this? So here's okay. Let's talk about weekly schedules. This is the imaginary weekly schedule, Richard's weekly schedule here, and I'm going to say that there are some things that I do consistently, and there's some things I don't do consistently. So things I do consistently include like working out, intermittent fasting, eating from 12 to 8 p.m., eating relatively healthy, like vegetarian, lots of vegetables, clean. What else? I am consistent with journaling every single day, morning meditation, visualization, that kind of stuff. So there are some things I'm consistent with, and doing live videos at 8 p.m. every single day. So these are things that I do well. There are things that I am not consistent with, which I don't do very well, such as going to sleep on time, waking up at a certain time. I struggle with that a lot. What else do I not do well? I don't do well organizing my work schedule. I think I, push things off too much and I take too long. I not procrastinate necessarily, but I spend too much time doing stuff. But yes, I do still procrastinate. So um, here's what I have to say. When you create a schedule, if you want to build up your self-esteem and you create a schedule and you start putting things in like exercise, and let's say you don't do it, what I find is it creates a burden if exercise is on my calendar, at a certain time, but I don't do it. So what I do is I just take it off my calendar and I reset. I don't let that burden stay there, and I don't feel sorry about like, man, I'm such a loser. I'm not good enough. I'm so not disciplined. Don't beat yourself up. So that's what I have there. Okay. I could talk about self-esteem and tips all day long, but I'm going to go with the ones I just shared with you, which is accept yourself, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and create a schedule. That's what I have. All right. Yep, I mentioned that. Awesome. Onathox says, was a tree cut? It looks perfectly cut diagonally. No, the tree was not cut. It's the same tree. It's not a real tree. Oh wait, what? Was that tree cut? These birch trees, the more tan ones, yes, these are cut. Those are cut. Yeah. If I didn't cut them, they would like go through the roof. The goal was I wanted to go from floor to ceiling, but I realized if I didn't cut them short enough, I can put them into my room. So that would have been a challenge. Kitty says, "You look nice today. Even if you do not feel well, I hope you stay strong. I see success and an amazing person in you. One anyone who has you in their life is lucky. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that a lot. That's very sweet of you to say. Anathok says, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, like the video. Dude, Angel, thank you so much, man. You're so kind. Um, Nelly says, I would get anxiety from trying to keep up with these comments. Honestly, it's I like it. It's a nice little challenge, and it does sometimes it can be a little bit chaotic because it's like I want to answer this comment, and then I'm also looking at the live feed because if you, let's say I'm talking about your comment, Nelly, and then you comment something else, I want to be able to read what you're saying live so I could continue on the conversation. But it's kind of messy, but it works out. We do the best that we can. All right. Nelly says, "What did you talk about in my middle school presentation today?" So, in my presentation today, I shared my life story, struggling with self-esteem, insecurities, and how our insecurities are kind of like rocks. Like they're like these really heavy rocks, and so I do an analogy where I got a rock in my hand, right? And it's a rock. It's not that heavy, but when you keep holding onto a rock, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. And the problem is when we're young and when we're living life, we're just like we hold on. I'm holding the rocks right now. I'm holding on to the insecurities, and it gets really heavy. But I feel like this is just a part of who I am. So I keep bringing these rocks or these insecurities with me, these really heavy weights with me throughout my life, and I don't know what to do with it. I just think this is who I am. So the conclusion is after a long after like 23 years of my life, I finally figured out I don't need to keep carrying around these insecurities in my life anymore. I don't need to carry around the stories. Excuse me. I don't need to carry around the stories of Richard, you're not good enough. Richard, you're fat. Richard, you're stupid. These are just stories. So if you're feeling stupid, fat, insecure, not good enough, whatever you're feeling, these are just stories. We can let them go. And yes, they do take work. And how do you let go of these insecurities? How do you let go of these stories? I'm ugly. I'm attractive. I'm not good enough. Is you you look at each story and you solve each quote unquote problem or challenge one challenge at a time. Don't try to solve everything at the same time. I don't think that works. I think you need to focus one thing at a time. So um, I'm gonna use ugly for example. That's one of those things that like how do you change that? You're just the way that you're just the way that you are. So you can't really change your physical appearance unless you do plastic surgery or something. But let's not go that route. I'm not knocking down anyone who does plastic surgery, but um, like let's just talk about feeling like you're ugly. How do you change that? So there's a few things you could do. Let's say physically, you can't really change your whatever your face. Sorry, I'm. By the way, please don't misinterpret. I'm not trying to be offensive here, and you should not feel offended. Like I'm not saying anything. I believe. How do I say this? How do I say this? Hold on. This is the PC answer is I believe all humans are beautiful. Regardless of how they look. There's beauty within us. Now, does Richard see beauty in everyone? I think the real answer is not always. Sometimes I am judgmental, which I do not. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. It's something that I'm trying to improve on, and I always try to see the beauty in everyone. So, anyway, that's a fluffy answer. Really, if you don't believe you're beautiful, number one, to just know that you are. It doesn't matter what your outward appearance is. There's a if you want to concern your outward appearance, only focus on what you can control. You can't focus on restructuring your face. Like just all of a sudden, wow, beautiful. But what you can do is like let's say you have acne. If you have acne, some of it is hormones, some of it's really hard to control. Some of it you can whatever eat cleaner. You can use acne medication, like all that kind of stuff. So yes, there's small things you can do. Uh, you could also whatever exercise more, clean up your diet so you're more fit, healthy looking, your skin's glowing, whatever. But the other way if you feel like you're quote unquote ugly, the other thing to do is I don't know how to say it's like don't stop judging yourself so much. Don't worry about the way you look externally. Like it's just accept the way that you look. It's being ugly. Being ugly is such an opinion. Like to you, you might feel like you're ugly. To someone else, you might be like, the most amazing, beautiful person in the world. And the example I like to give is let's look at supermodels. Supermodels in general, public would say, "Oh my goodness, these are like they're so attractive." But guess what? There are so many insecure supermodels out there. Why? Because they're comparing themselves with other supermodels, or they just don't like themselves. They think they're ugly. They don't feel like they're uh, beautiful enough. Whatever it is. So that's a real story. Um, so anyway, I would say that I should have mentioned this up front. If you feel like you're quote unquote ugly, sorry, I've been on this example for so long. If you feel like you're ugly, then honestly, we are all beautiful. Find your own way to be beautiful. That means work on your personality, work on your character. Work on when I say character, like your the core of who you are. Are you someone who is giving? Are you someone who is authentic? Are you someone who is caring? Are you someone who is loving? Connected? Someone who is like just friendly. So these are things that are in our control. It takes practice. So that's kind of in a way that's how I define my beauty in a way. I don't seek out external appearance. That is not my main focus to looking quote unquote pretty. Like for me, uh, my beauty when I look at myself, how I love myself and find myself as beautiful is by saying, Richard, are you being your true authentic self? Are you giving? Are you being present? Are you loving? Are you connecting? Are you living in alignment with who you want to be? Like those to me is the true beauty. So anyway, that there we go there. All right. Wow. That was a long answer. Okay, so that's what I talked about in my middle school presentation, and I went off track on that one. So, sorry, not sorry. I hope that was supportive. But I get back to your comments because there are plenty of comments here. Yeah, still going through that sort of. Okay, Charter. I see you just left a comment. Kitty says, "I'm keeping a diary. I wonder if this can help replace that habit. I anxiously searched the house for something, could not find it, and had trouble breathing. I breathed hard. Help." Um, One thing that I'm learning in my life. So for anyone on here who feels anxious, I think one thing we get to learn more of is to just to be calm. Like literally, we put way too much pressure on ourselves. We put way too much pressure on ourselves. Again, life is way too short to feel sad. Live life with joy every single day. And I get it. I'm I'm doing a little bit of lip service here. Like I'm just talking right now. But really, what's more important than that is like I get it. Look, I don't have a good day every single day, but I know, like I have to remind myself, Richard, um, you have a rough day today. Hey, just remember, life is way too short to be unhappy. Like, just relax, man. Like not to say don't give up on your goals and don't give up on getting good grades or whatever it is. Just remember to be happy today. Choose to be happy, and it's a practice. Practice every single day. How can I be a little bit more happy today? So there we go. And other things. I don't just this is where I think like Zen and Buddhism and that kind of stuff. Not in a any kind of religious aspect, but more like a spiritual, more of a calming aspect, meditation. These things are really important, in my opinion, um, to just be happy, to just calm ourselves, to not feel so anxious. Jazz, I'm gonna get to your question in just a second, okay? Anyone else, if you're just hopping on and you don't see me answer your question for a while, it's because there are about 15 more, 20 more comments that I'll get through. But I will get there. I will get there, and I'll get there as soon as possible. And it won't. I'm gonna, some of these are just quick comments, so we'll get there soon. Okay. Alexito, good to see you again. I sometimes write on Blogger what I'm feeling in the moment to deal with anxiety. Awesome. I think that's great. I think blogging, if you're feeling anxious, it's that stuff could be improved, and find an outlet for that. So whether that is, journaling, doing poetry, music, it could be talking with friends about it, all that kind of stuff. All right. All right. NJ Grant says, dude, I just can't stand famous people. I really wish I can support them, but I feel my happiness has been sucked out. Huh. NJ, I'm curious. What does that mean that you can't stand famous people? So I want to challenge this real briefly. I see what you mean in general. So here's the thing. Um, when you say you can't stand famous people, is that out of how you see famous people are? Like they're so whatever, they're stuck up, they're um, whatever, they have an ego, they only care about themselves, like that kind of stuff? Or can you not stand famous people because you can't stand that they're successful and maybe you're not as successful as they are? Anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into this. It's not a personal question that I'm trying to dig into. But I just want to make the point that, you know, famous people are just people, meaning there are some famous people who have a big head, who get ahead of themselves, and there's a lot of famous people who are very humble. They're very like centered. They have worked on themselves, and you know they're doing their best to not let their fame get the best of them. So I respect those people, and those are the people I try to gravitate towards. Yeah, and in a way, these are like very subtle things. So talking about famous people, for me, one of my current role models or idols that I look up to right now is Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory. He is I talk about him a lot, and I like him. And I'm always looking for good mentors and people to follow. But Tom is like, I see him as very, he's humble. He's not about being showy. He's about really having a purpose in life and making a difference in the world and all that stuff. So anyway, gravitate people who resonate with you, people who don't, just let them be. All right. Chowder says, literally everyone I've met has had value. Yep, agree. Alrighty. Okay. Cool. Chowder, thank you for saying I'm not talking too much. Jacinta Amala, you are inspiring. Keep up the good work, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Alrighty. Kitty says, Richard, I have a question. It is above in the comments. It is important. Wait, is that the one that got retracted? Help. Hold on. Or is that I'm keeping a diary? Maybe that's it. I'm keeping a diary. Wonder if this can help replace the habits. I anxiously searched the house for something. Could not find it. Have trouble. Oh, okay. I think I answered that. Kitty, if you have more questions, let me know. Oh. Kitty, if you don't mind, please just repeat your question so I'm clear on which. Just repeat your question, your full question, so I know what it's about. Okay. Sorry for making you redo that. I just want to make sure that I fully understand what your question is. Let's see. Angel asks, do you get angry at people sometimes? Sure. Do I get angry often? I don't feel like I get angry often. I'm not a very angry person, but sure, I do get upset sometimes. And yeah, I feel like mostly at family, if anything. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. All right, Onathox says, me too, Richard. I have a question previously to the one you answered. I was talking about the little tree on the table. Little tree on the table. Oh, were those? Dang it! I forgot your question. Sorry. Those trees on the table. Um, sorry, I can't remember your exact question. I'm gonna pass. Please forgive me. It's not super important anyway. And not to say that your questions aren't important, but it's off topic. Chowdhup says, I've reversed the progress I've made since August when it comes to my weight. I'm overweight. That is objective. Just confused. How is that a narrative? So, okay, so let's say you've gained weight. I've been there too. It's if you're overweight again, you lost weight and you gain weight. What I could say is accept yourself. Just know that that is okay. It happens. We're human, and continue to focus on how do you get to your ideal weight. How do you push yourself in that direction, and be patient with yourself too. So that's pretty much what I have there. Alrighty. Jazz, yay, we're finally here. How do I get rid of anxiety of a final exam? So take a few breaths. Like literally, it's breathe. Just breathe in, breathe out. Take deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Excuse me. So what I know is I know that's not going to solve all your problems. That's one little trick is take deep breath. Like just give yourself time to just be calm. Like I get it. Final exams they cause a lot of anxiety. We have to study a lot. It's overwhelming. All that kind of stuff. And it's a practice. Letting go of anxiety, I think, is a practice. It's like as I see it in myself. What I realize is, in order, like, I remember I used to stress out a lot with like meetings and things like that, and I just realized, okay, I asked myself the question, what is being anxious going to do for me? Not much. It's just going to make me feel anxious and less focused. So, if I know what my goal is, aka doing well on a final exam, I'll be like, okay, Richard, anxiety is not going to help. Just calm down. Let's attack this. Let's attack studying for this exam systematically. What's the most efficient way to study for this exam? Okay, study groups. Cool. All right, what do I need to do to put together a study group? Ask people. Okay, what am I going to ask people in class tomorrow? Okay, when is a good time to study? Well, I have to ask them, so I'll figure that out then. So, do things one thing at a time, and I don't know. Sometimes I get it, when we're in crunch time, when things are like so much to do. Sometimes we just gotta go, 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 go. And sometimes we gotta push ourselves in that way. I don't think that's the optimal state. I don't think it's optimal to work out of anxiety. I think until we build up that skill of like understanding how to just be calm and do things one thing at a time, it's okay to operate from anxiety. It's okay to just push ourselves to get the work done that we need to get done. Because at the end of the day, if you got a final exam, you got to study for it. So do what you got to do first, and continue building that skill of calm, of just being centered. Okay, try meditation. Maybe that'll support you a little bit. Okay, all right. Chowder says, under the commitment tab in the challenge doc, I'm going to have to push myself to achieve, but I'm still willing to. Does that fall under the 100% category? Let's see. Hold on. Under the commitment tab in the challenge, push myself to achieve. I'm going to let you answer that question for yourself, Chowder. Okay? All right. Kitty Marie, okay. Thank you for restating your questions. Can writing to my diary replace my habits? I searched the house for a blade, could not find one, then panicked. Please help. Let me see here. I'm not sure if I'm 100% clear on this. I will do my best, and correct me if I'm not reading this correctly. So, writing to my diary replace my habit. Yes. So, if you believe writing in your journal can replace your habit, yes. So, I think you know, whatever. Sorry, wait. Kitty. I'm a little confused. You said you don't want me to talk about your habit, but you're talking about it. Did I misread something? I'm only gonna read whatever you're writing here. Whatever you're writing is public, so I'm gonna let me know if we could talk about that publicly. Whatever that habit is, or did I misread something? Okay. Anyway, so yes, the short answer is, I believe. Please find any kind of alternative that's healthier than the habit that you have. Okay, Kitty, if you want to talk privately, you could just, how do I say this? You could shoot me a message on two ways to. I would say the top two ways to talk to me privately. One, email me, richard@richardco.com. Number two is you can. This applies to anyone who wants to talk to me privately. Number two is you can add me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. It's Richard Co Live. So either way, happy to talk to it. But yes, while you're on, I mean, I'm not going to be very specific on it, but to anyone in general, if you have a bad habit, try to find a healthier alternative to that. So, yes, please do journal if that's a healthier thing to do. For myself, Uh, for example, I used to play a lot of video games. How I shifted out of, um, again, nothing wrong with video games, but the way I played it in a very addictive, in a very unhealthy way. It was very destructive to me. So how I shifted that recently was, I'm like, I acknowledged it. I was like, okay, this is not helping me. This is not supporting my life. So what I did was I uninstalled it, and I thought, what's another thing I could do to fulfill this need? And for me, I want to develop the skill. Like I played games because I want to develop a skill of like um, mastery. And so instead of gaming, I went to the gym and I started shooting 3 point shots, like 8,000 shots. So 8,000 shots in 8 weeks, something like that. So yeah, just find a better alternative for whatever bad habit that you're having. That's my short way of solving that. Hey, Chowder, don't worry if you feel like you're how do I say this? Don't feel like if don't feel sorry if you're feel like you're hogging the chat. All right, let's get to this. Chadrup says, I really want to get into filmmaking more, but I don't know if I want it enough. I want to make films, but for some reason, I don't make them as much as I should. Maybe I don't want it enough. Maybe I'm not cut out for the filmmaking. Maybe that's just what I'm telling myself. I want to do it as a career, but I keep getting sidetracked. What do I do? Do I need to want it more, or do I create a habit? Okay, so Chowder, I'm gonna say right now, I can so relate with you in so many different ways. So filmmaking to you is like whatever motivational speaking to me. It's this thing that I feel like I am passionate about. You know, I really do enjoy it. Just like you, you enjoy filmmaking. There are times where I feel like, am I cut out to be a speaker? Just being very honest. Like sometimes I have that self doubt. Sometimes I'm like, man. Sometimes I feel so down on myself or whatever it is that I don't feel like doing it. And then there's a little voice, positive voice, positive. Here, this is the positive side. There's a little voice in my head that's like, Richard, like I know you feel like giving up right now, but like, sure, okay, cool, give up for now, but you know deep down inside this is what you want to do. So that little voice inside my head, even though I make excuses, even though I go into my little funks, even though I like disconnect from the world, and sometimes I try to hide for days, weeks, months. Um, I know that that voice will still be there, and I know this is what I still want to do. So I'm grateful for that. I know not everyone has that little voice, and guess what? A lot of people have a much stronger, much more convincing voice than I do, and that's okay. You know, uh, we all get this. It's not about comparing ourselves with other people. It's about answering the questions for ourselves. And Chowder, the questions you're asking me are the same ones I ask myself frequently too. So, maybe I'm not cut out for filmmaking. Let's see what else. You want it to do as a career, but you get sidetracked. What do you do? So if you know in your heart this is what you want to do, or you at least, in my opinion, because we've talked, I believe you know pretty well that this is what you want to do. So keep doing that. Keep pursuing that route, that pushing yourself in that direction. Okay, so that's what I got there. Keep. Hold on, I want to make sure that I answer this fully. Yeah. So if you don't feel motivated, I think that's very part of being human. We're not gonna like every single part of our passion. For example, there's parts of we'll call it the business of our passion. There's things that are tedious that we don't want to do. We want to make films, but we don't want to deal with marketing or whatever it is. There's gonna be parts that we don't really enjoy, and that holds us back. And sometimes we just won't feel motivated because we have these doubts with ourselves or other stories that we have going, and that is perfectly normal. That's part of the journey, in my opinion. Chowder, I think, I would say my gut feeling, again, these are just opinions, don't take them as truths. My opinion or feeling is um, that you want to do filmmaking. That's what generally makes you happy. I have another feeling that, you know, maybe being like a quote unquote successful Hollywood movie filmmaker, maybe that, even though that's what you might want to do, I'm not saying that is, but let's just say that's what you want to do. Maybe you might feel like, that's the goal that everyone society has influenced you to believe that's what you should be doing, but maybe you just find passion in making films and that's it. And you don't necessarily need to, stretch yourself super, super wide. I say this, goodness, I don't want to limit you either. I don't want to limit you. If you want to, if you want to go big, like, please follow your bliss, follow your heart. Like, if you want to go big, go big. All right. I'll leave it at that for now. All right. Alrighty. Kitty, I see your comments. Chowdrop says, it just seems like all the successful people are saying, I spend every waking hour working. I get that. Trust me, I get that. And then Chowdrop also says, I'm not doing that. Okay. I understand that too. I feel like the same thing applies to me in speaking. It's entrepreneurship too. Like, I just see so many people hustling. It's all about, working super hard and all that stuff. Guess what? You don't have to be like other people. That's what I'm realizing for myself. I don't need to hustle 24/7, all day long. Like, for me, like, my unofficial motto is like, it's like hustle hard, relax hard, which is like, like work hard, play hard. But for me, it's like hustle hard, relax hard. And what that means to me is like, it's just balance. I don't necessarily subscribe 100% to the whole hustle hard, relax hard. Generally, it's balance. Balance is what I really mean by this. It's like, for me, I don't need to be a Tony Robbins. I don't need to be the most successful, most famous motivational speaker in the world. I don't need that. I'm here because I have a passion to give to people. I have a passion to support people with their self-esteem. So I'm gonna do that because the experience of helping other people just it lights me up. It makes me feel good. So there we go. So I don't need to spend every single waking hour doing this passion. I see other people. I talked about Wesley Chapman. This guy's awesome. He's such a hustler, like nonstop working. Like, it's crazy how much effort he puts into the work that he does. And I, at some points in my life, I want to be like him, and I wish I was like that. And I don't know if this is a limiting belief, but part of me feels like I'm not exactly like that either. I want balance in my life. I want to be able to enjoy what I do, but also enjoy things like resting, vacation, spending time with loved ones, stuff like that too. So balance, find your own bliss, really. Like, focus on that. Okay. Kitty says, you are valuable as well. You are also my favorite speaker. I know you can do it. Keep smiling. I see you speaking in the future. Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty, I just want to point out something really, really quick. Again, thank you. Like, you are so kind to me. I just want you to take notice of how kind you are to me. But how about yourself? Like, you're so kind to me, but I don't see you being kind to yourself in the same way. Like, I would love if you can take the way you're talking to me and talk to yourself like that. And guess what? I got to do the same thing for myself too. The way I talk to you, very kindly, I got to talk to myself kindly too. So I get it. I got to practice what I preach. But just know, we both get to notice that, and anyone else who's on, we all get to notice how we talk to other people, if it's kind. We also got to talk to ourselves like that too. Like, we got to stop putting ourselves down so much. Okay. All right. Jonathan says, hey Richard, I remember watching your video teaching us how to quit video games, and I quit for almost 6 months, but I'm back playing and I want to become a pro gamer, a pro player. I'm 50% there. Should I continue? John Lynn. So let me see here. First of all, nice work for keeping up that discipline to quit video games for 6 months, and now you're back to playing video games, which, it's okay. Like, honestly, John, like, this is your life. You get to choose for yourself what path you want to live. And this is one of those things where you get to trust your heart. And how do I say this? Trust your instinct. And how do I say this? It's trusting your instinct. I feel like it's such a deep thing. Trusting our instinct is like, it's not just emotions. It's not just logic. It's combining logic and emotions together. And it's like, I don't know how, like, you got to like dig deep down inside and really understand, what do I really want to do with my life? What's going to genuinely make me happy? Like, what is genuinely the right decision? Not because someone else said so, not because Richard said so, not because my environment or society says so, but rather because, you know what? This is how I want to live my life. This is my choice. So you get to choose for yourself. Yeah. What's going to make you happy? Let's say you pursue the pro player path. Would you be happy? Like, would you have what's a quote? I just want to go back to one of my favorite quotes, which is like 20 years from now, when you look back at your life, 20 years from now, um, you know, 20 years from now, when we look back at our lives, we're going to uh, pretty much focus on the things that we regretted. Oh goodness, wow, I'm butchering this quote. This is so bad. Um, 20 years from now, we will look back at our lives and remember the things that we didn't do versus what we did do. So the idea of this is look back at look at, will you regret not going pursuing this pro path, a pro player life, or would you regret, I don't know how to say this, or maybe ah is this just a thought slash a dream or something like that. So you gotta figure that out for yourself, okay? um you gotta trust yourself on the decision. Like if you go that route, if you go pro player route, like you gotta know, you gotta understand, how do I say this, you get to understand your kind of your story. You get to understand that the pro player route is super competitive. There are hundreds and thousands of people wanting to become pro players, hundreds and thousands. And are you caught, you know are you ready, to commit, dedicate your life to do this, and I don't know, are you okay with pursuing this route but settling for less if you're not fully committed? This is up to you. Will that journey make you happy? So you got to figure this out, because I know being a pro player is super super tough. It's stressful. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of doubts. Why I know this? Because I follow the League of Legends scene. And I know, I know there are, you got the top teams, you got the academy teams, you got the challenger teams. So like there's so many tiers. Everyone's trying to fight their way to the top. Everyone wants to be a pro player. So if you want to become a pro player, like you gotta put in the work. Like it is not easy. So there we go. You gotta make your own decision. Okay. Chilling Vibe says, bro, I have so much social anxiety. Anything we should do with satisfaction doesn't matter. Whoops. Okay, you got a lot of social anxiety. Chip at it one thing at a time. It's anxiety. Dealing with social anxiety and building up that confidence it's a muscle. So, push yourself into those social settings where you get yourself out there. You start talking to people and socialize. You learn how to communicate and empathize and build up your social skills. That's all it is. And the only way we're going to improve our social skills is to push yourself into those situations. And here's a little food for thought, which is uh, until we work on it, until we solve our challenge, it's never going to go away. So, um, like you're better off solving your problems now, or working on your challenges now, improving yourself now, so you could live more happy for a longer period of your life versus procrastinating, and then wasting a lot of whatever we'll call it years of your life, and then later on you're like, okay, finally I'll deal with it. But guess what? Be patient and accepting with yourself too. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Okay. Alexito Pro says, whenever we are in a bad mood, we get back to bad habits. I used to play video games, but what was it? Shake my head. What? Something happened, and I feel like, well, I'm feeling sad right now. Maybe playing again would make me feel rewarded and happy. So I go back to playing, almost to addiction too. Okay, so Alexito, I totally understand what you're saying here. I understand that when we're in a bad mood, we tend to go back to bad habits, and video games is something that I could completely relate to, because when I'm in a bad mood, guess what? I want to escape. I want to go play video games because it's a temporary happiness. It's a quick fix. It's a quick fix of happiness. Like, guess what? I was feeling sad for these past 4 days, and not gonna lie, I wanted to reinstall League of Legends again. I chose not to. Thankfully, I've built up some level of discipline to not just compulsively install League of Legends again. By the way, I've uninstalled and reinstalled League of Legends at least, at least 15 times, at least. So that's to give you perspective. But I have not played League of Legends in I don't know how long. Yeah, I can't remember. It's been several months at least. And I know self awareness is super important. It's knowing what the right thing to do is. For me, I'm not ready to, especially when I'm in a bad mood. That's the worst time for me to install League of Legends. If if I were to install League of Legends, it should be when I'm in control of my life and I'm positive. But guess what? If I'm in control of my life and I'm feeling positive, chances are I'm going to be focusing on things that matter to me more, which is relationships and also speaking, like making impact. So that's what I have. Okay, so I would. So if you're considering playing video games when you're feeling sad to quote unquote make you feel better and recover, my opinion from my own perspective, again this is just my opinion, doesn't make it true, is that chances are that's just an excuse. So you can start playing again and it could temporarily make you happy, but honestly I think it's going to make you more sad. I think it's going to make you feel even worse than if you didn't play to begin with. So if you're feeling sad, my suggestion is try to not use your typical advice to solve your problem of sadness. I would focus on finding a solution to the sadness or whatever that bad feeling, that negative feeling is, and replace that habit, your vice, with something a little bit more positive, such as maybe it's exercise, maybe it's reading, maybe it's just going outside, clear your mind, whatever it is, journaling, stuff like that. Okay. Kitty says we have to lean on each other. Question marks? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I believe it's okay to lean on people. It's lean on people that you trust, for sure. Chilling Vibe says anything we do should be do with satisfaction. Doesn't matter what it is. Awesome. Let's see. Chadrup says, hey, I know this isn't Richard's relationship advice, but there's this girl that I've been very good friends with for 3 months since she moved here. I really like her and I want to tell her, but I don't want to alienate her or make things awkward between us. I really care about her. I want her to be happy for the most part in these situations. Do people push you away if you tell them how you feel? I feel like I'm going to make her feel more alone. Let's see here. So, especially because she's dealing with clinical depression. So, Chowderp, I mean, you said it perfectly. Like, I can only share with you what my experiences, and from what I know from my experiences, it really depends on the individual. Like some people want to be told. Some people want to be told that you like them. So other people it makes them feel kind of awkward and uncomfortable. Unfortunately, if you, I don't know how to say this. In a way, I know this is super general information, but I hope that this is supportive. And it's like you got to make your own decision. Like if you are like, you know what, you really want to, if you want to go for that chance, you want to go for that risk, and I would say just go for it. And honestly, if you're first of all, for anyone, if you say it in a very authentic, vulnerable way, like, hey, and not expecting anything, like genuinely not expecting anything, just like, hey, I just want to let you know that we've been talking for like 3 months and had a good time. I just want to let you know that I kind of like you. That's it. That's all. I just want to let you know. I thought you should know that because I think you're an incredible person. Not expecting anything. I just want to let you know that. Yeah. I mean, goodness, it's up to you. It's up to you if you want to say that. Like, what is your intention? Do you want to date her too? You could ask her on a date. That's up to you. Honestly, I think it's flattering, but just careful not to put that pressure on her to like you back or whatever. That can be tough when we have emotions and stuff. So be in control of those emotions. Yeah. Okay. Cool. John Lynn, thanks for your reply, Richard. Keep up the good work and continue helping others, bro. And another question I have is something I can't handle with confrontation in real life. Can you help me on this too? Let's see here. Sometimes I can't handle with confrontation in real life. So, John Lynn, if you're on, which I'm guessing you are, if you're on, please be a little bit more specific. What kind of confrontation are you talking about? Confrontation with friends, with family. Please be it helps to give a little bit more context here. Okay, I'll get back to you in just a second. Nope, we're caught up with questions, so I'm gonna get back to you right now. Let's see, Kitty's hopping off a little sooner. Good night, Kitty. Take care. We're still streaming, everyone else. Just saying good night to Kitty. Thanks for hopping on, and hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. Okay. Okay, John. So let's see. If you have a hard time dealing with confrontation, I get it, because me too. I don't like confrontation. I don't. So, let's see. I'll answer real quick. Confrontation with family and confrontation with friends. So, and strangers. We'll do strangers too. So, I'm gonna go with confrontation with. I'm gonna start with strangers because I kind of know this one. So, let's say someone is trying to start beef with me. You know, someone's like trying to stir the pot, stir the stew, or whatever it is. They're trying to start beef with me, and like, yo, you got a problem, man? You got a problem? Whatever, like simple stuff. Like, so for the most part, if they're just trying to act up, like, I'm not going to engage in that stuff. I'm just going to disconnect and be like, hey, nope, like, I'm not going to say like, no, I'm not trying to start beef with you, or whatever it is. I wouldn't say it that way. Like, no, I'm not trying to cause any trouble here. Like, I'm just naturally, I don't want to have problems with people. You know, that's not my thing. Let's see. So for the most part, I don't really have confrontations with strangers. I don't get emotional. I don't do that. I respect people for who they are. I understand people have their own, well, I'm just gonna say egos, or their own. They get mad at things, and I just try not to take it personally. You know, I don't engage with that kind of stuff, for the most part. So that's that. Let's talk about friends. Confrontation with friends. My thing, friends and family. In terms of confrontation, I do my best to understand, understand the other person, seek to understand. I forgot the exact quote, but seek to understand the other person. Okay, I think that's the best way to deal with confrontation. It's being empathetic. Why does the other person feel the way that they feel? Why are they angry? Why are they upset? Why are they feeling sad? You know, why they feel like I wronged them. And instead of being defensive, it's just about seeking to understand, and like, hey, when people feel understood, it just calms things down a lot more. Like, so, hey, I totally understand why you might feel upset at me, and whatever, please forgive me. My intention was not to anger you. This is, this is why I did what I did. And let's say they're still angry at you. Hey, I get it. Whatever. It was. This is not to be weak, but it was like, hey, it was, my fault, my responsibility. I didn't communicate that very clearly with you, so that's my fault. Whatever. And let's say it's not your fault. What do you do there? And you're like, hey, goodness, I need more context here. This can go in so many different ways. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now. But yeah. All right, chilling vibes. Let's see. Says, man, I used to play Mobile Legends so much, but after I delete my account, I'm remembering it. Yeah, sometimes it's cool to reflect on old games. It's nostalgic, right? Like right now, I kind of want to reflect back at all the old games I used to play. Anyway, chilling vibes. I see that you're gonna hop off right now. Enjoy your reading. Take care. Oh, John Lynn, thanks for the comment. John Lynn says, sometimes I would do something wrong, maybe at work and school, but teachers / higher up staff that try to talk crap about me, try to talk crap, but I'm perfectly fine when I think they are sincere and trying to help me out. Okay, so let's see. When people are trash talking you, okay, that's okay, John. So, yes, I'm glad that if they're trying to give you more constructive, they're being sincere, you're okay with that. But if they're trash talking you, is like, what do you do? Honestly, let's see. For me, it's I just don't get involved with it. If someone's trash talking me, and I like, this goes to awareness. It's like when I see someone, I'm just like, okay, I know, I get they're upset. They have an ego. They're whatever. I don't want to say immature. I'm not trying to put them down. It's just they're not as developed socially, emotionally, where they start lashing out and they start trash talking other people. They have to put other people down to make themselves feel better about themselves. So I just acknowledge that, and I don't I don't escalate the conversation. I just be like, okay, cool, like whatever. I respect that. I see what you mean. Cool, and then I just go do my own work. That's it. I don't engage with it. Okay. All right. We are caught up. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna wrap up right now. We are an hour 40 minutes in. Let's do this. I'm gonna wrap up real quick. Topic of today is, do I have anxiety? And the answer to that is yes, I do. And the main purpose of this whole thing is to say that anxiety is something that I'm working through. And it's not like I'm not trying to label myself. I'm not trying to feel special that I have anxiety. This is just a conversation because I think a lot of us struggle with anxiety, and it's okay. Accept it, let it flow, and just know that anxiety is temporary. It's something that will that can be changed, even if you've had anxiety for a long time. So, for myself, I'm gonna just talk to myself and at you at the same time, which is just know if you're feeling anxious or negative, that they're just feelings and they come and they go. So tomorrow's a new day, and let's continue to move forward. Let's take steps forward into improving our anxiety, into focusing on our vision, our goal, the life that we want to live, to just be happier. Focus our energy there, and let's not worry so much about the negativity. Let's not worry so much and focus our energy on. Let's not focus our energy on all the negativity, the doubts, the insecurities, and try to focus on moving ourselves forward, the goals. Okay. John says, thanks for your help and advice, Richard. I'll definitely work on it. Hope you get better too, bro. Have a good one. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. You too as well. Everyone, thank you so much for hopping on. Tomorrow is what? Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. You know what? For now, there might be a party that I might be going to, my friend's birthday party that I might be going to. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. For now, we'll say the live stream is on. And if not, I will let you know. I'll write something like, I'll create a live stream that says, no live stream tonight, whatever it is. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. If not Friday, I'll be on Saturday. Okay. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.